Hello! Welcome to the next episode of Cast and Curious for Channel Divinity, a D&D podcast. I'm Dean, your host, and today with me, actually, I've got...
Me, Trent, the DM.
Now we get to learn about him. You didn't think he was part of the cast, but he kind of is.
I'm every member of the cast except for 3 people.
That's true. I guess starting off, what got you into D&D?
What got me into D&D was when I first played D&D. When I was around 6 or 7. It was on a camping trip with our older cousins who, I don't know why, they wanted to play. And so they sat down, and as like a little 6 or 7-year-old, I was like, I want to join. I want to hang out with the cool kids. And so I sat down and we played D&D while we were camping. We didn't have any kind of official dice. We used 4d6s, and one of them was just either a 1 or a 2. And like a 1 was all the odds, and a 2 was all of the evens. And that's how we got a 20-sided die, even though it's not the same at all. But we had none of the official rules. I don't even think it was real D&D. It was probably like Pathfinder. But like, it was just so much fun. It was so much fun to basically, in my little 6-year-old brain, it was being a character in a book. And it was controlling the character to do whatever I want him to do in the book.
Yeah, that's a fun feeling.
And that's what like attracted me so much to D&D, and that's the only time I played it when I was like that young, and then I wanted to play it more, but those older cousins never wanted to hang out with me because they were like 16 and 15 while I was 6, and so none of them wanted to hang out with me. So little 6-year-old me just tried my best to convince my younger brothers to play with me, or my other younger cousins that were the same age as me to play with me. It didn't always work. Sometimes it worked, and it was very rarely ever official, because we didn't know any of the rules. And so it was just like, let's come up with a random spell. Oh, you leveled up. You learned the spell Flare. It lets you shoot a fire bolt out of your hand.
Yeah, I feel like back then we didn't even know there were like rule books.
Yeah, we didn't. And
we just thought it was like something you made up on the spot kind of thing.
Exactly, and that's what we did. We made up everything on the spot, and everything that we played was all murder hobo.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was all like, well, I break into the castle and I kill the king, and now I'm the king because I killed him, and that's how that works. And it was like, yeah, that's right. That's exactly how that works. You're the king now because you killed him. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Oh, that's not how that should work.
Yeah, not normally.
No.
So then, when was the first time that you DM'd?
Well, after that first experience with my cousins, like I said, I tried to play again with other people, but every time after that, I was the DM. With all of the made up stuff, I was always the DM. I never had a character. I was always the one that was like trying to get my younger cousins and me and then my younger brothers to play, and sometimes you and David. A lot of times you said no.
We were playing with our friends.
That's true. But the first time I really DM'd was probably when I was, want to say like 12. When I was around 12, I learned that there was like official books, and I got the player's handbook for like my birthday or something.
I think I remember this.
And I like freaked out. I read through the player's handbook like 6 times. I like had it memorized, and then I just begged everyone to play with me. And at the time, the only person that played with me was David. And so what we did is we would play, and it would be me and him, and that was it. I would have like an NPC character that would be in there, and I didn't have like any of the monsters. I didn't know how to DM right because I didn't have any of the books, but that's what we would do.
I feel like I joined you at one point. I remember making a ranger character.
I think so. But I think it might have been...
But I don't think I played consistently with you.
No, and I think it was after... I think you joined after I got the other books.
Oh, yeah.
because
Oh, yeah, because I remember I joined and David just, like, fire hose unloaded everything that happened. Something about, like, a demon arm.
yep.
Or he was...
Oh,
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember all of this stuff now. He killed a demon, but he kept the arm that would like thrash around sometimes, and so he like strapped it to his back. It was wild.
Wow, yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but eventually it was probably like my next birthday or like Christmas that I asked my mom for the other books, and I got the DM's Handbook and the Monsters Manual at once. And then I read both of those through like 6 times each and like memorized the contents of both of them. And then I realized I was doing a lot of stuff wrong and was trying to fix as much as I could. And
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
and now I have a collection of like 15 of the books.
I know, it's a bad hobby. It's expensive.
It's expensive.
But those books are cool.
They are really cool. And I normally get them for like a Christmas or a birthday present. So,
Yeah, that's the best way to get them when you don't have to buy them.
yep.
I guess what drew you to D&D? I guess we talked about that. It's like the being able to put yourself into a character kind of thing.
Yeah. It was I love books.
Yeah.
Everyone in our family loves books.
Yeah, we read a lot.
And I feel like I probably was the one that like stuck with books the most, especially getting into high school.
Yeah, I was crazy in like before high school, and then high school happened, and I stopped reading a lot.
I feel like that's what everyone does. Like everyone I talk to is like, "Oh yeah, I loved reading in elementary school," and then I hit high school and I kind of stopped reading. But for me, I hit high school and I like hit my stride, and I started reading even more and like crazy amounts. Like I was cruising through like 7+ books a week, where I was like finishing a book each day. And D&D was my way of like writing a book. Like,
yeah, it is storytelling.
It's storytelling, and I loved the idea because I like to come up with these really cool story ideas, but then I don't know how to play characters. I don't know how to like write every single character. It's hard for me, especially the main characters, to make sure they're consistent and I don't just like manipulate them into doing things I want. But then like D&D, I don't have to worry about the main characters at all. Like,
yeah, that's true.
That's the players. I just worry about all of the side characters and the monsters, so I can play out the really cool idea I had, but I don't have to be the main characters.
Yeah, that's cool. That's not. I feel like most people want to be the main character.
I prefer being the DM, honestly. I'm that friend that likes to be the DM.
And we thank you for it. Who was your first character though that you like remember as like that you count? You know, as...
the first character I count was the NPC when I first got the player's handbook that I played. I made him like a whole player character, and his name was Reed Thorngate, and he was a halfling rogue. And
nice. Assassin,
sticking with the classics. Because of that, I love rogues the most, and I love halflings the most. They're just my favorite. That's why the halflings in this world are so cool. It's because I love halflings so much.
That's awesome.
And more recently, I like bugbears, but yeah.
And for this world, you made the halflings so cool. I guess that's why you did that.
Yeah.
Are there other things that inspired different aspects in the world? Like we asked the players, like, was there any inspiration for your character? Like, what's the inspiration for Dalgar or the characters found in it?
I would say the inspiration for the style of Dalgar, like the different islands, that comes from Sneak Attack. Listening to the podcast Sneak Attack, before every world that I had made for D&D was always kind of like one big continent. And maybe other like a smaller continent on the side that you could visit. But it was always just like one big continent that I tried to fit everything in. And then I listened to Sneak Attack, and the way he did it was like the way Reed, the DM, Sneak Attack did it is a bunch of different little islands. And that idea was what was like, it's like, that's really cool to me. I've never done that before. And so when I sat down to make Dalgar, that was what was in the forefront of my mind. I was like, I don't want to do a big continent this time. I want to do little islands.
That's cool. And And I guess we just recorded your
The
the
world
world
lore.
lore episode,
Yeah.
so I heard some of it, and it was like a lot about the world building, right? You guys
Yeah.
talked about that already, so we don't have to go into that. But is it for the characters like Stag or Horus or like what are like is there inspirations there, or do you just kind of like, oh, you're in the shower, you thought of a cool character, you write it down kind of thing?
A lot of times it's, oh, I'm in the shower, I think of a cool character, I'm going to write it down. But some of them do have some inspiration, like Stag. I like to play Skyrim a lot. And up by one of the cities, you fight like these one type of enemies called like the Forsworn or something like that. And there's one high-leveled enemy you run into every once in a while called a Briarheart.
Briarheart.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they have like these weird like horn headdresses that they have on their head. But when I play Skyrim, I play it on a crappy laptop. And so the animation is so bad and it's always so dark when you fight these guys that to me, every time I fought them, I thought they had a stag head on their head. I thought they had a big deer's head with horns coming out of it the whole time, every time I fought them. And so the
Wait,
whole
really?
yeah, every single time. And so the whole time I was like, what's up with this? Why are they wearing a stag head? So I was like, I'm going to make a character like that, but I'm going to make him goofy. And then while I was making him, I actually looked up what a Briarheart looked like. And they
doesn't look like
that. They don't wear a stag head. They've got like horns. That's it. But that's where Stag comes from. That's his inspiration.
Oh, I can't remember the guy's name, but in Demon Slayer, the guy who wears the pig head.
Yeah.
I feel like Stag is just like a goofy version of him almost.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know.
Though he was not my inspiration for it.
Yeah.
It was the Briarhearts, which is much lamer. I should just say it was him.
No, it's okay. Stag is just one of the kind of iconic characters, at least for the first part of what we released so far.
Yeah.
And like we see Horus a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of little characters here and there that like have a spotlight.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see those. I was just wondering if there was anything behind them.
No, and I guess I will say, we didn't say this in the world creation episode, coming up with the names of the islands was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Like, you might be able to tell, Hildalga, that literally is just a Spanish word. That means like soldier or something like that, like gentleman soldier or something like that.
You just opened a dictionary.
I just opened up a dictionary and saw Hildalga and was like, perfect, it'll work. And then like for Acheta, that name is so weird is because I literally rolled for it.
On a random name table? Or?
I rolled with dice. I counted out 26, had like a D20 and a D6. No, because that wasn't enough. It would be like a D20 and then I think 2D4. I think that equals enough.
You just rolled for a certain amount of letters?
I rolled for a certain amount of letters on like a D8, and then I rolled that for which letter was going to be what. And I got Acheta. And I was like,
wow, you're lucky the vowels and the consonants worked out.
I was like, you know what, this works, it's perfect, it's gonna go how it's gonna go.
Hey, that's cool. I didn't know that.
And then Zonari, this is real deep lore. I don't know if anyone would ever catch that. That's why I'm okay with saying it here. Zonari is literally just the first, like, the two syllables of Arizona backwards.
Yeah.
Zonari, Arizona.
What's it called? An anagram or something like that? I can't remember.
Something like that. It's literally just the consonants swapped places. And that's how that name came about.
And it's a desert. So
and it's a desert, so it works.
That's awesome. We want to get a little bit into maybe more about you, not about maybe D&D. I guess besides D&D and reading, because we talked about that, what are like your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
Just D&D and reading. No, I'm just kidding. Like to go camping, like to go swimming. I really like the outdoors. Just hanging out in the woods. Anime, gotta watch anime. But that kind of circles back to reading because I start reading the manga and then the light novels for the anime. So It all circles back to reading with
Yeah.
that.
Everything comes back to books.
Everything always circles back to books. But no, outside of like the nerdier habits, the nerdier hobbies,
Yeah.
it's like swimming, camping, hiking, playing board games, playing video games. I guess that's somewhat nerdier, but not quite.
It's like a different realm of nerdy.
Yeah. It's like beginner level nerdy.
It's like the mainstream cool nerdiness.
Hey, D&D is starting to become mainstream cool
That's true,
nerdiness
with,
thanks
like,
to Stranger Things.
Stranger Things and then the D&D movie that came out.
Yeah. It's starting to become more acceptable. Now the next level is LARPing.
Oh my goodness.
I have never done LARPing before, but I mean, hey, maybe someday.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I did as a little kid.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it as like an adult.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what are your plans, hobbies, or not hobbies, sorry. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
What do I want to be when I grow up? So right now I'm studying data science. I was studying computer science and like learning how to program and stuff. But I didn't want to do that because that's tough.
Yeah, I took a coding class. Coding's hard.
It's fun. I got pretty far into it, but it just kind of clicked at one point where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so instead, I did some research and I saw like data science and dealing with like surveys and statistics. And I was like, that seems cool. And I can still use the computer science knowledge that I already learned. So I switched to that.
That's cool. So wait, I thought you were a statistics major.
I am.
Oh, okay.
Statistics,
but you
emphasis
want to
in-
go into data science.
Yeah, it's a statistics
Okay.
major, emphasis in data science,
Okay, cool.
which is basically just like if computer science and statistics had a baby, it would be data science.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm
So.
taking an information systems class and
Yeah, that's like if business and computer science had a baby.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, anyways, our last question that we normally do is if you were a fictional character,
Oh no.
who would you be?
That's so hard. That's so hard.
And you can do who you think, like, personality-wise you think you're like, or you could be like who you would just really want to be kind of thing.
That's so hard.
Did you listen to Gordon's?
I think so.
Or
I did, but it was a while ago.
yeah, so Gordon said like Han Solo. I think I said Hiccup from
Oh,
How to Train Your Dragon.
yeah, both of them are good. You said, oh my goodness. There are just so many that I could be. I'm just going to say this because this is the first thing that came to my mind. From the book series Ranger's Apprentice,
Nice.
Will.
Oh, I love that series.
If
Will's awesome.
I would be Will, just because, like, so good. Just
Oh.
love Will.
If any of you know that series, message us about the last book.
Wait. Okay, wait. The last book is in the Royal Ranger, or the last book is in book.
The Royal Ranger.
Okay.
Because I'm talking about Royal Ranger. The original the 12th one, Royal Ranger's technically like part of both, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he made a secondary series. There's 2 more books of the
Yeah,
Royal Ranger.
well, he originally released the Royal Ranger as like the 12th,
12th.
and then
and then
he
added
made
2
it
more
into
later.
a new series.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the 12th, the Royal Ranger.
Yeah.
Me and Trent could talk for days about Ranger's Apprentice.
They're coming out with a TV show for that.
Are they actually?
It's been in the works, but it's in Australia.
Okay, I know they've talked about a movie for like ever.
The movie got canceled. I did research on this because I wanted to know.
Yeah.
The movie got canceled like 3 times because it could never get the funding it needed.
Okay.
And then they started to search for funding for a TV show. But that was 2 years ago when I looked at it last.
It might be done.
That was before I went on my mission for our church. And so it might be done.
It might
now.
be done.
It might be kaput.
Yeah. Well, at least other series like Percy Jackson.
I know, it's finally getting a
Or
TV show.
Aragon is getting his TV series.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
'Ooh. 'Ooh.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, Yeah, we have other shows we could watch, but Ranger's Apprentice will.
Eventually,
Will is a
someday
good
I'll
guy.
get a TV show. But yeah, Will would be who I
Will.
would choose if I could be. It's just the first thing that came to my mind. Like you said, fictional character. First thing that came to my mind was Ranger's Apprentice being Will. And like
He's a good character.
I could always go look for like someone else in the recesses of my brain. He was my go-to. So.
I mean, that series is why, like, my first character was a Ranger.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I have a love-hate relationship with Ranger, because I love the idea of Rangers, but, like, just in D&D wise, like,
they're kind of trash.
their abilities don't always synchronize very well.
Tasha's Cauldron of Everything fixed a lot of
Tasha's
it.
fixed a lot, which is awesome. And, like, they've released a lot of subclasses, so you have a lot of cool options.
It's true.
Besides, like, Beastmaster, which always felt like it had so much potential.
But it was never good.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks, Trent, for coming into Cast and Curious today.
Of course, thank you.
If you liked this episode, you could send us more questions about Trent or any of us if anytime. You can send those in to our social medias or our email, channeldivinitypodcast@gmail.com. If we have a Discord,
we're looking into getting a Discord. It might not be out.
We're looking into it. We might have one by the time
this episode
releases. But yeah, reach out, ask more questions, find out more. I feel like sometimes it's hard to get to know the people behind the mics or the characters. And we want to connect with all of you and learn more about how you guys got into D&D, how you found our podcast, what you like about Stag or other characters, or what Stag, when you heard Stag screeching, what did you think?
It was so much fun to do that
Oh
voice.
my goodness. It was not fun to edit, though. Anyways, I'm Dean, your host for Cast and Curious, and with me I have...
I'm Trent, and I'm normally the DM.
Awesome. We'll see you guys later.
Deuces.